And where are we on the ongoing matter?
So far, we have narrowed it down to execute, hit it, and manifest.
Manifest?
Nobody likes that one.
Hit it was Captain Pike's.
Yeah, but you could put your own spin on it, like, hit it!
I will take it under advisement.
Oh, and Commander Stamets has requested to report on their analysis of the Navarre data. He says they have something.
Well, hit it then. Right.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Deep Space Pride, a gay Star Trek podcast. I am one of your hosts, Johnson Lee, and with me is my co-host, Mike. Mike, how are you doing today? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I am doing well. It's the end of vacation, last day of vacation for us both.
All over.
Yeah.
I'm just counting down the days to MLK Day. That's all there is right now.
Oh, well, that's 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's right around the corner.
That's not far away. Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if I have off for MLK Day, but, you know.
Oh, right. Yeah. I do. I do for sure. I do know.
Yeah. Because my new company is UK based, so I don't even know what holidays they technically celebrate as a company. So,
I
have no idea.
Yeah, you start a new job tomorrow. That's exciting.
I do. I'm excited. I'm a little bit, nervous because it's kind of like first day at school, but I'm sure I'll be fine. I have like this whole onboarding schedule already. I'm like meeting with like a zillion people, so there's that. But I'm sure I'll be fine. I'm sure they're not going to throw me to the wolves the first day, but we'll see,
No, I'm sure it'll be a gentle
I don't know, gentle, but
maybe not gentle.
Maybe not gentle, but they'll give me time to pick things up and acclimate,
Correct.
So,
yeah.
I'm excited.
Exactly. So
it's a new chapter, new challenges.
Yeah. New chapter
new
in
growth
2021.
Opportunities.
There you go, which is why you took this opportunity, right? To
exactly.
grow. So,
yes, I just need something new. So, I thought that it would be cool for us to, before we dive into this week's Discovery episode, for us to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we've been doing the past 2 weeks, specifically the little trip that we took to upstate New York, where we went to the Star Trek original series set tour. So, Mike, what did you think about it? Let's start with your thoughts and,
sure.
what your experience was.
It was, everyone there was great, first of all. And we want to thank the Star Trek original series set tour team, James and Drew. And I think Anthony was our photographer.
I don't remember his name.
And we want to thank them for having us by, and it was really quite informative. And
I know Drew, our tour guide, he knew a lot. I mean, it's his job, but he also seemed like a fan, and he just knew things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was surreal at times.
Mm-hmm.
It was and obviously the penultimate piece of this, or the ultimate piece of this, is going to the bridge, which is the last part you do. But even, from the beginning, we started in a transporter room, which was really kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Everything felt real, and everything felt solid. And, it just, It was really it was like transporting onto the Enterprise. It really was.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like it being in another world, and just in my mind going through the scenes that you see in these various sets. Some of which I don't exactly remember. Like I don't really remember too much about uh, the room with the decompression room. I don't remember that. I don't remember
I don't
that from
remember
this
that
from
episode
the
either.
series. But being in the transporter room, being in Dr. McCoy's office, being in sick bay,
Even the hallway, you know,
yeah, actually the hallway was the biggest thing
it's
because
just so
all of
iconic. The hallway.
right, all the crew members running,
Yeah.
running to red alert stations and things like that. It was just, yeah, it was so surreal, and it was just a lot of fun, a lot of nostalgia, a lot of just a lot of fun. It was really
Yeah.
fun. It
Yeah.
was cool. You couldn't touch a lot. We touched a few things, but
Mhm.
it was the bio bed, and not just the bio bed in the sick bay where people were recouped, but also the, where people were examined there, where it folded down and let people on or off, and how that whole thing worked. Uh, yeah, it was just really, really cool to be there, and so realistic. If you didn't look up at the ceiling, you'd really think that you were there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I thought that they did such a great job just recreating everything and the level of detail that they put into it. And, like Drew kind of gave us a lot of the info on how they went about recreating the sets and the amount of work that went into it because they couldn't find the right material from when they initially produced the sets. So they went ahead and recreated textiles or materials themselves. It was just insane. Where they had to source things from the original manufacturer and they had to hunt things down. And just how much effort and love that they put into it was just really amazing. And I've also liked some of the background information. I'm sure I read it somewhere where, they like TV sets back then weren't HD. So the set designers knew that they had to make things really colorful so that they popped on screen, like things like that. And that would be the explanation as to why so many primary colors are used on the sets and things like that, like really make you appreciate even the original design and how innovative they were and how they thought about the user experience, and then how they would also repurpose everyday things like salt and pepper shakers, to make certain objects or certain tools as a way to save money or, just do something a little bit different, like just small details like that were really interesting. And then, the bridge was great. Obviously they replaced a lot of the screens with, modern day LEDs, but other than that, it was a very faithful recreation. And, you and I both thought that it looked so much smaller in person, than on screen, which is really interesting. It looked really cramped, actually. It was like not, I wouldn't be comfortable if there were chairs and more than like 3 people on the bridge. It's
Yeah,
really tiny.
exactly. Yeah, the bridge was really small, and you definitely do not get that feeling when you're watching it. Seemed very spread out, and the banisters were lower than I thought. We got to sit in the captain's chair, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was really small, and
It was small.
the way that Drew explained it is that the way that it was filmed with the parallax lens just made it seem roomier than that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really fascinating to me. I don't know what it is, how it does that, but that was the only set that felt not like real, to me, like that. that felt like a miniaturized version, and it was true. It's follows the blueprints that they got
Yeah. I thought it was so interesting.
from the studio, so
Yeah.
it's it is accurate to what they worked on, but man, it was small.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they did update some of the screens and whatnot, but still really, really cool to be on there and to sit to actually, my favorite part was probably walking through the bridge doors and
Like the
just
turbo
standing
lifts?
there. Stepping on, stepping through the bridge turbo lift doors and stepping onto the bridge and just standing there and like kind of looking over at like so many characters who walked onto that set. Throughout the 79 episodes of the original series. I mean, it's just really cool, and the other set that I really enjoyed that I thought was really cool was the conference room and how they, it was set up as the conference room, but it was also used as many other sets and redecorated, and the mess hall, where they held the wedding, from Balance of Terror, things like that were just, but that was the most fun sitting. I was sitting at the computer that Spock would sit at, and it just felt so real to be sitting there, like we could be sitting there and having a conference. So
engineering is also very cool.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about engineering. Yeah,
I love engineering.
Yeah. Again, that felt small too. Now that I think about it,
I mean, it's bigger than
smaller.
Most of the other sets. It was like two levels, but
right. Yeah, it was. But my favorite part of that was just how you look through the grading and how they created it to look bigger than it was,
the warp core.
Longer than it was. Yeah, the woodwork was really good there. So yeah, that was cool. That was my favorite part of engineering, was that where the engine itself was. But the transporter room was probably my third favorite piece after the conference room and the bridge. Obviously, you can't not love the bridge. But yeah, it was so much fun. It was quite a trek to get there.
It was far. It was very far. But worth it. We made a weekend out of it, so it was fun.
We did, yeah. We left early Saturday morning, went up to Saratoga Springs, walked along the city streets in Saratoga Springs, had dinner,
had some mediocre food.
It was
fine.
It was fine.
It was fine.
And then drove up the next morning after we checked out. And
thanks for doing all the driving. I did nothing.
You and Dennis
I napped in the back.
Chauffeured. You napped. Dennis napped. The drive from Saratoga Springs to Ticonderoga was very hilly and very.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. We were going around mountains and stuff.
It
was just.
It seems so easy from the back.
But it was a fun road trip. We had a good time, and the tour was amazing. The people there were great, and you and I are huge next gen fans, and they are in the process. It'll take several years, I think, but they're in the process of recreating some of the sets from the next generation.
One day,
which will be amazing. So we definitely encourage anyone who wants to literally trek to upstate New York and go and see it, to do so.
I mean, it's totally worth it, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, that was a great way to spend the day after Christmas that weekend.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Before we Dennis and I had to work on Monday, and then I was off, but you are on vacation.
I was, but now we're all going back to work. So
we're all going back to work. It's 2021. And just for a quick shout out, today, January 3rd, is Johnson's birthday, the day we're recording. So give some love to Johnson through emails and messages if you if you know how to reach us, how do our fans reach us if they want to share their thoughts
I
on
mean,
the tour or
that's usually at the end, but I guess they
yeah,
can email
usually,
us.
but we
Yes.
can do it. Yeah.
Sure. They can email us at dspacepride@gmail.com, or they can reach us on social media at dspacepride on Instagram and Twitter.
There we go.
So
Yeah,
and if you've been to the Star Trek set tour yourself, we would love to hear about your experience and how things were potentially like before the pandemic. Because when we went, it was just the two of us plus Dennis, who was there. But was he? I mean, he was present.
he was present, but he wandered away quite a bit and was not interested in all the stories and things like that. So, yeah, but he knew what he was getting in for. So
he did. Yeah,
he survived.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So great. Well, we had a great time. Definitely go check them out. And they also have an Instagram account, which I don't know the name of. Original Series Tour,
I think it's,
or
you know what? I
like
don't
that.
remember, unfortunately.
I don't either. So
well then, there it is.
There it
cool. So are we ready to jump into this week's Discovery episode?
Yeah, let's spill some Trek.
Adira can write an algorithm that can find and decode it.
How long will that take?
Not more than a few hours. She's pretty fast.
Update me the moment you have something, Commander.
Of course.
They are fast. They, not she. I've never felt like a she or a her, so I would prefer they or them from now on.
Okay.
And I've never told anyone but Gray.
So cool. So on this week's episode of D6 Pride, we are talking about The Sanctuary, which is the episode where we meet Book's brother, and a bunch of other things happen. Do you have the summary up?
Here's the summary from Memory Alpha. I don't have my usual CBS All Access up in front of me. Burnham and the USS Discovery crew travel to Book's home planet to help rescue it from Osira, the formidable leader of the Emerald Chain. Meanwhile, Stamets and Adira continue their search for valuable information on the origin of the burn. And this week's episode was directed by none other than the most famous and Picard's number one, Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah, I think he directed like 3 episodes this season.
Yes.
Yeah,
he did
a lot.
Yeah. He just directed the latest one.
The most recent one, yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. Mike, what did you think of this episode?
So, yeah, and you and I were talking before we started recording. You know, there's sort of 2 halves to this episode, right? We wouldn't have one half without the other, but and they are connected, and the connection is obviously Osira and the Emerald Chain. We meet Osira for the first time here, but really what I found more interesting was the stuff happening on Discovery, less so than the happenings on Kwejian, with Book and Michael and his brother, whose name escapes me at the moment. Kahim, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, that whole piece of the story was, you know, as you might put it, was it another fetch quest?
I mean, this wasn't a fetch quest because they weren't going to Kwejian to get something. Technically, they were there to protect it. So, I mean, I would say technically.
Well, they couldn't protect it, right? They were, you know, the Federation has no
jurisdiction or whatever.
No jurisdiction, so they were going as observers.
Yeah, I would say it's not a fetch quest because they didn't go there to get like another piece of the data or like whatever, you know, to get to the source of the burn, yada yada, you know. So
okay, I gotcha. All right,
less so a fetch quest.
Less so. But I felt like the stuff on Discovery happening was much more crucial and,
I agree.
and much more interesting than what was happening on the planet. So, one of the biggest things that I think is important here is that we talk, the Stamets and Adira piece of this.
And which I totally forgot happened in this episode, by the way. It wasn't until, I was rereading the Memory Alpha summary that I was like, oh, yeah, that happened.
Yeah, I mean,
that was actually pretty important.
Yeah, that was definitely really important. Other than meeting Osira for the first time, what happens both between Adira and Stamets, and also what they're working on, which is the data, right? The burn data, is the crucial. I don't know. I think the most important pieces of this. There's some cute other funny scenes that are. There are two other things that come to mind, right? Tilly as first officer and Saru talking about his catchphrase.
Yeah, that was great. So funny.
And also when Rin comes to meet Saru and Tilly kind of puts him in his place and stands up, does a really great job of that. And then the other piece of that is of the story is Detmer's kind of rebound from her PTSD, from everything that's kind of happened. So we see this new we see Detmer work through her difficulties.
Actually, there's a lot happening in this episode if you think about it, because you have Detmer, you have Saru and Tilly, you have Colbert and Georgiou, and then you have Stamets and Adira. See, you even forgot about that. There's they actually squeeze a lot in. I think it's one of those catch-up episodes where they're like, let's check in with everyone else because the primary storyline is actually not that great. So let's just do let's just make everyone progress a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Quajan piece of it really is just another example of how Osira and the Emerald Chain affect these lesser worlds, these underdeveloped worlds, and how they kind of get their hooks in there. And the result of this was why Book left the planet for 15 years, why he and his brother haven't spoken in that long. It brings us back to the first episode with the transworms. Also at the top of the episode, we do actually meet Osira, and Talor gets eaten by a transworm, which is also what she did to his father. So, this kind of, I guess, creates some gravitas to the evil that she kind of brings and presents,
right?
Or potential. She's not loyal to anyone, including her nephew. So she
I was like a little bit, especially having just watched the most recent episode of Discovery. What was the name of it? Like the one,
There Is a Tide.
Oh yeah, where they're kind of like fleshing her out, like fleshing Osira out as a character, and then you see her kind of have this sentimental side of her, particularly with that scientist that she basically raised. I thought it was, and then I was like, all right, then looking back, she was so ruthless with Talor, and she basically also raised him. I don't know. I think that we were just presented, she was presented as kind of like a one-dimensional villain, and then later on they're like, oh, let's flush her out a little bit and make her more complex. Great, because
they were definitely giving us little by little, little pieces at a time, and she does come off as very one-dimensional in this episode as the big baddie, and basically threatens the Discovery, and it's actually Tilly who comes up with the idea. Isn't it Tilly that comes up with the idea that
that Detmer basically
Detmer go and take Book's ship and attacks it to save the planet, essentially. So I mean, I guess we do learn a couple of things. She's very manipulative. She seems very Orion-ish, right? She's really living up to what we know about Orions, and she gets more depth in There Is a Tide, which is the most recent episode, the penultimate episode of this season. So But yeah, so she's threatening, seeing her face on the bridge screen, and just, it's almost like threatening without any real backing it up. Like we haven't really engaged it. We've heard about the Emerald Chain so much so far. Actually for the last 2 episodes, we've heard a lot about them and their movements and things like that. But now we get to meet the big baddie of, and she's played really well by Janet Kidder, I think.
She actually does a good job. And then I've seen some of the BTS with her, where she's kind of talking about Osara, and she actually gave Osara a lot of thought as a character, which I appreciate. I don't know. I mean, Osara's fine. I mean, she's kind of a foil to our Discovery crew, and I mean, she doesn't come across as a huge villain. I mean, she's really just a foil.
Right. And, actually, and one of the things that I thought about is that at that time, I felt like she's not the big baddie, right? I didn't get in this episode, I didn't really get the impression that I felt like she was still serving someone else. And we don't really, we find out later that that's maybe not the case, but who knows? But yeah, it felt like she was kind of a minion of someone else to some extent, but so we have her attacking the planet looking for Book and for Michael, and that's solved by Tilly and Detmer. All right, Quajon saved, everything's fine, but let's get into the stuff that we really care about, which are the character moments, and certainly the Adira Stamets moments here. Gray has kind of left her.
Poor
Stamets
Ian Alexander had very little to do this season, I have to say. He was like, I don't know, he's kind of sidelined. I thought he would do more, but no, not to be.
But I've said this before. We have a plethora of characters on this show.
I agree. I think they just made a big deal of his introduction this season.
Yeah.
So I thought he'd have more to do. I agree. There's a lot of characters.
Yeah. And I think that as we're sloughing off other characters like Nan and Giorgio in the next 2 episodes, we're tightening up who maybe this show will focus on. I don't know. But really sweet moment between Stamets and Adira, when Adira kind of tells him that they don't really identify with the pronoun she, and if he Stamets would use they them as kind of her pronouns, and he just looks very proud and is happy to do that for her. But I think it brings an endearment that we see later on in the episode Sukal, which, where he's talking about his family. And even there is a tide, he's really started to form a family. And so it's him and Culber and Adira and Gray, and that's his family. And you kind of see this. This is like a proud, fatherly, in my opinion, look on Adira as they share that piece of them. And then there's another scene later on in the show where they're playing music together, and Adira kind of comes to terms with or shares with him about the loss of Gray, right? And so that so I think that they really are formulating this relationship, this family unit within the larger Discovery family really nicely. So I was really impressed with that. Did you have any other thoughts on that piece of it?
Yeah, no, I think I thought that they have been doing a good job focusing on the evolution of their relationship. And one of the things that I mentioned when they had all the casting news, I was like, oh, I wonder how they're going to come out and say oh, like, you know, pronoun use. Like, what does pronoun use and all that? How does that happen in the 32nd century? You know, actually, remind me, in terms of Gray's character, did they ever talk about that Gray is transgender? Other than the press release?
I don't remember. I don't recall anything about his character being transgender.
Oh, really? I thought the character was also transgender.
I think it was. I'm just not remembering when or how that was.
I don't think it was
shared.
Well, anyway,
right.
Yeah, because I was wondering like how they would come out to reveal that Gray's character is transgender, and also how they would come to reveal that Adira's character is non-binary. So it was interesting. You know, it's basically just like, you know, here's our preferred pronoun, you know, and Stamets is like, okay. So I guess it's not that dissimilar to how we do it today. But yeah, no, I do appreciate these small moments that we have between them, where we're kind of building, you know, their relationship. I wish there was more. I feel, you know, I wish there was more between Adira and Culber. We do have a little bit here and there. But mostly the bond seems to be between Stamets and Adira, which is fine. You know, meanwhile,
Culber's kind of busy.
Culber needs to deal with Giorgio, and I guess,
right,
you know, dealing with the trauma that people are feeling on the ship or something. So
yeah,
sure. But you know, I do think that you know, what you mentioned in terms of how Stamets really does come to see Adira as part of his family, particularly in the most recent episode, There Is a Tide. That was a. I know we're not talking about that episode, but that was a very powerful scene. And you come to realize how important Adira has come to mean to him. You know, I think
you see that here.
You do. You know, I wish there was more, because if you think about it, there's really not that many episodes, you know, where they're kind of growing their relationship. And by the time that we get to There Is a Tide, he basically, you know, like, Stamets basically sees Adira as an adopted, like, child, right? And I'm like, okay, I guess, you know, like, it hasn't, they haven't, the relationship, though it's been pushed along, it hasn't had that much time to evolve. And at least for me personally, I would certainly not think of someone as an adopted child anytime, you know, it would take a while for me to kind of think of someone that way. So I was like, you know, though, that scene was powerful, you know, when Michael was basically forcing Stamets to leave Hugh and Adira behind. I thought that, you know, it goes with a lot of how I feel things oftentimes happens in Discovery, where I don't think in this particular instance it's unearned. I don't think that, you know, it's the, you know, like, their relationship, because we are spending time with them. By the time we get to the penultimate episode, that, you know, Stamets' feelings are unearned. But it is, to me, it does feel rushed, because it's not like we spent all this time with them together and see, because if there was this like DS9 or TNG, we would have like 22 or 26 episodes to explore the relationship, you know, all this time. But because we're limited to like 13, 14 episode seasons, and things just happen so fast, I'm just like, oh, that happened very quickly. You know, I appreciate it, but you know, like, and this is something I've said and echoed in past episodes. Sometimes some of these character moments just seem rushed, or at worst unearned to me. So anyway, but yes, I did appreciate the scene in of itself, for sure.
Yeah, and I think that you know, there have been little moments all along, you know, where she redesigns the spore drive for him. She helps him remove the stunts, or the stunts, or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, he accepted her and her thoughts and her fact that she was talking to Gray and didn't know how, but completely openly accepted that right from the beginning. didn't think she was weird, didn't believe her. He believed her. He,
Right.
talked to Gray, in a way. So, if I have a predictor, if I threw out a prediction based upon this episode and then we're jumping ahead to last week's episode, which we just watched, I'm wondering that when Adira beams down, if there's not something that in this holodeck that might separate out Gray in a way that he becomes a physical character again. So I don't know.
That'll be a
for
lot
sure.
to squeeze into the finale, but I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that we have a 90-minute finale. That would be great, but it's probably not going to happen. But anyway, yeah.
But yes, I agree. Like, it's not like a Non and Michael situation where they've spent 2 minutes together and then they're crying by the time they're leaving each other.
Yeah.
They've definitely given us more to work with.
Yeah, you just have to. You have to keep all of those little moments in mind as you kind of are watching this and realizing that the relationship is growing and building.
Yeah.
Just like the relationship between Tilly and Saru, as Tilly kind of first was very unsure about it in the last episode. The crew all encouraged her to say yes, and she's starting this episode walking down the corridor, taking him through all the things that are going on, and also talks him through what his catchphrase might be. So that was really cool. And then we see her conversing with him in the in a future scene where they're in the ready room and Rin comes in and disrespects the captain, and she puts him right in his place. So, and it's funny because Rin is played by her husband. Which
I read that too.
Which is just hilarious. So you get to see all these scenes. You get to see a scene with the two of them at the end of the episode where he's kind of off by himself, and Tilly comes and sits with him you see Detmer talking her friends all through the events on Book's ship and all of that. So there are some really great scenes with Tilly in this episode, and obviously we are both huge fans of Tilly.
Yes, Tilly.
We are, I don't know, I'm definitely team Tilly.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's a lot of discussion about what's going to happen at the end of this season and who's going to be what and all of that, but we'll get into that later on. And to be fair, like, I didn't necessarily agree with Tilly being made first officer, but she has certainly stepped into her role. And
yeah, I agree. I mean, like, the chain of command seems a little dubious to me that she would be the one to be promoted
chosen
to
XO
first
officer.
Sure. Like, I feel that she's done a decent job.
Yeah.
So,
and hopefully there's a rank promotion by the end of this season, right? Maybe hopefully she's like a lieutenant or a lieutenant commander by the end of this season. So
I don't want like a Harry Kim situation where like he's
for
like 7 years.
Yeah, we do not want that. No, we cannot have that.
Yeah.
So
what else? So we have Stamets and Adira. We have Culber and Giorgio, and that basically just kind of advances her storyline a bit. Is fine,
Yeah, it's just I mean, it's a good reminder of, like, this is really like what's going on Discovery. This covers.
Yeah, it was a check-in. It was a check-in
with everyone. Which includes Culber and Giorgio, and sets up the next week's episode, which is pretty crucial, obviously, to Giorgio. We'll cover in our next episode. We'll cover both episodes of Terra Firma. But it was sort of a check-in episode where we kind of get to advance everyone's storyline, and we meet the big baddie of the season, and all of that. So that's all that, I think that's most of what we remember from the episode.
And I mentioned this to you before we started recording, because I was like, what was this episode about? It was like, it really was a little bit of everything. And then the problem. Okay, so I also mentioned to you, for me, Book as a character he's fine. He's basically Michael's boyfriend, and I just really didn't care about Quajon, nor did I care about Book's relationship with Kaheem. Like, it just didn't do anything for me. I cared about everything else happening, like you were kind of saying, but I just, this was like, let's flesh Book out more as a character so he's not just Michael's boyfriend, and it was very serviceable in that fashion. Did I?
Well, and
this
whole, yeah, no, but I think you're right in that respect. But it gave us a story that actually provided us with the check-in with everyone,
right? Yeah,
and advances
like I said, I
the
care about
burn.
more of all that stuff. I just don't really care about Book.
Yeah, I think he's an interesting enough character. I think he's a good addition to the crew. But again, we keep on adding on people, and the crew, we don't have the 26 episodes in a Deep Space Nine series where you get to meet and get to know all the characters, and they get fleshed out week to week. So yeah, I thought that this was an episode where the story gives Book and Michael something to do. And it basically takes Michael away from the ship enough to give us the opportunity to check in with everyone else on the ship.
Basically.
And we do get a wrap up of, hopefully they'll continue it, because I don't believe that any one moment in particular, especially what Detmer goes through, is going, I don't believe she's cured, or I don't believe that her PTSD is gone just by doing what she did in this episode. I think it gave her a lot of her confidence back, but I don't think I think it would be irresponsible of the writers to just kind of let that storyline kind of slide away completely.
I don't know. Do you think it's gonna come back? I think it might get like a little repetitive.
What else are
they gonna do with it?
Right. No, I don't necessarily mean that. Well, it can bring Culber into the fold as far as the doing more counseling. Well, if anything, if they do consider this part of the storyline wrapped up, I do hope that we do get to kind of go in depth a little bit more with the other characters on the bridge, and see what effects this all has on them. Not Boimler.
Boimler? Which one?
No, I was gonna say Boyce, but that's not. I don't think that's his name. The communications guy. I don't remember his name. We have Jen Reese.
Reese.
I have Joanna.
What's the one? I can't say her last name.
Yeah, I can't say her last name either. We have the girl that played Lieutenant Nielsen.
The girl that played
Ariam. She's now Lieutenant Nielsen. So yeah, I hope we'll get to see. We've gotten to see Detmer a little more deeply. Hopefully, we'll get to see some of these other characters a little more deeply before too long. I'd like to see them flesh out these other characters.
I don't know. Will they ever? I feel that there's always something bigger to be occupied about. And they obviously have their favorites when it comes to who's driving the story, and everything needs to be centered on Michael. So I don't know. I don't know. It'd be great to learn more about Owasagun or Reese or whoever, but I don't know what's gonna happen. This most recent episode that we did watch, there is a little bit more for them to do because they're retaking the ship.
Right.
But I don't know. I still don't know if there's much for them to do or much opportunity for us to learn about them as characters. Because I feel there's always more. Thinking about Trek nowadays is that there's always more important fish to fry, basically. And there's no time for just some of these we don't get a lot of time with these character driven moments. We do get them, and I always love it when we do get them, but there's always the bigger story plot that we need to kind of focus on,
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So,
Well, that would be my wish, is to continue to flesh out those characters as well
yeah.
as everyone else. Great. Well, anything else on the Sanctuary?
No, I think we're good for this episode. Are we ready to dish a little bit with Deanna?
Yeah, let's go and see Deanna.
Come in.
Hi.
You got a minute?
Sure.
Cool. So Mike, what's been going on in your life? Tell me everything. Or tell our viewers everything. Or listeners everything. I know most of what's going on.
Yeah, you know most of what's going on. I think, and I know that our listeners can kind of understand this as well. This holiday, this Christmas was a lot different than other years. We were relegated to not being able to travel out of state, so I didn't get to see my family in Massachusetts, which definitely affected me for a couple of days, I would say. Even though we had a good trip upstate, and all of that, there was still, some reminiscing, and also some sadness around missing that. So, that's part of it. We did have a couple of people over for dinner on Christmas night who didn't have plans and who didn't have a place to go. So we had a couple of people over and had a nice dinner, and that was great. So yeah, I think it was, I made an attempt at cinnamon rolls, which did not fare so well. But
like
last
from
night,
scratch?
Yeah, from scratch. They did not fare very well, though, unfortunately. They came out a bit flat, and so I was a little bit bummed about that. But I did last night. I did actually stumble across a very good another recipe for cinnamon rolls. But we're in January now. It's 2021, and vacation is over, and so is holiday eating and all of that. So that recipe will have to wait for another time. But we're one of our goals for this year is to get back into shape. Definitely running shape, and
abs 2021.
Abs 2021, and sign up for a race, at least definitely a half marathon, nothing more than that. But to have some goal to strive towards. So it was great to have some time off. I did work on the 28th, but then had the rest of the week off, and actually did some things around the house. I installed some lights.
Yeah, you did. It looks so good.
I fixed a fan. One of our fans was the light switch broke, so I fixed that. I still have to finish putting that back together, but that was done. So yeah, I felt pretty good about that. We're starting to just make a few changes to the house. We went on the way back from sorry, not on the way back. On New Year's Eve, Dennis and I went to IKEA and got lost in the vortex of IKEA for 4 hours.
I can't believe we were there for 4 hours, but it didn't feel
I know.
like 4 hours. It was great.
It didn't.
IKEA.
Yeah. So yeah, I have to, I need to do a little bit more of a permanent setup with my office. So given that I will probably be spending most of 2021 working remotely. So, so there's that too. So, so did some things around the house and continue to make plans for around the house. So not only do I need to build out an office area, but we want to kind of, I've cleaned up and organized the kitchen a little bit better. And we need to get when we were over to your place for New Year's Eve, we got to see your bar cart. And so we were inspired by that. So I think we're going to replace we're gonna not that's the idea of having that is really good. I think a good idea to keep everything in one place. So we're actually going to replace the the under the TV console, which really all it really holds is the printer is inside and a bunch of papers and storage, but the modem and the internet stuff are on top. But I think we're going to replace that with something that's more to the ground and up to about the level of the TV, so that we can store more stuff and include maybe include putting half of our or using half of it for a bar cart per se. So we have another reason to go back. So we need to go. So we're going to go back to IKEA once I get some more measurements for my office setup and do a little more research. Although you also inspired me with, maybe I need to think about a custom solution for the office. So but we'll see. So it's a lot of stuff like that. Some days where I slept late and did nothing. I can't even say that I've watched a ton of TV even on this break. I can't. We did start watching the Bridgerton on.
Did you?
Yeah, on Christmas Day that's what we watched, and we watched a couple of episodes the other night. It's it's a period piece. It's interesting. It's So
it's revisionist.
It's no, it's different, and it's different enough, I guess. We did end up watching, so I think it was last episode,
The Queen's Gambit.
Not the Queen's Gambit.
All right,
the last episode you did. The last episode you talked about that Japanese
yes, Alice in Borderland. Yes,
Alice in Borderland. So that's what before we watched Bridgerton, and between the last episode that our listeners heard, and now between then and Christmas we binged Alice in Borderlands like in 3 nights, I think it was. That was exciting. When you get it sucked into a show like that and you want to binge it, I enjoy that. And it was 8 episodes, so it wasn't a lengthy binging. But it's also nice to watch a show where you don't know what's going to happen. Right. And you have some mysteries, and you're hoping that they wrap up the mysteries. Which did they? No. They did somewhat. But
some,
really, some, not all. So and that's the problem with binging TV shows right now. Is or watching TV shows is you have no idea whether they're going to come back. No.
It's been popular though. People have been talking about it, so I hope it gets renewed. I don't think they've announced it yet.
So that's sort of what the last couple of weeks have been in 2020, and a couple of days in 2021. It's Sunday the 3rd now, and our last day of vacation, and your birthday, and all of this. So that's what's been going on with me. What about you? What's
well, I've been off from work for almost 3 weeks, and it's been pretty nice. I will miss not doing anything or having responsibilities. It's been, I've just been doing whatever. I've been seeing people here and there. I've been like watching TV. I've been working on my fish tank. As I mentioned on the last episode, my dad passed away, so obviously I had to deal with some of the funeral stuff. But yeah, it just went by so fast, and now I'm kind of excited, nervous about this new job, but then I'm also like, break's over, So I don't know if I've utilized my time the best over a break, but it's also a break, so I'm kind of like whatever. I do have to really change my schedule though, because now my new job, my day starts at 8:30 rather than at 10. So that is going to be a shift. I have not made any steps towards acclimating to that schedule yet. Like last night I went to bed at 3. So I don't know. I'm going to try to go to bed a little bit earlier today. I think I'm going to, because there's no way, I can't go to bed at like 1. There's no way I'll fall asleep. So I just need to like slowly adjust my schedule. Like maybe tonight I'll go to bed at like 2. Like I'll be in bed sleeping or attempting to sleep at 2, and maybe next day at 1:30, and then 1 o'clock. I think 1 is probably like a good target for me.
How many hours of sleep do you like to get per night?
I usually get like 6 or 6.5.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I'll go to bed at 1. I think that's actually a good time because then I'll wake up at like 7:30 or 7:40 or something like that. I think that'll be pretty good.
Okay.
So I just need to make steps to work towards that target.
Yeah.
I really should have been better. I should have been working towards the target for the last week. But I'm such a night owl. So, but yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I've been like, getting onboarded already. They're sending me my laptop password tonight, so I'll be able to log in. If I'm not going to log in tonight, I'm going to log in tomorrow. So things like that. Yeah. And yeah, there's like a 2-week onboarding schedule that they already sent me. Like I said, a meeting with like everyone. It's going to be like a lot to learn, but it's fine. New things, new challenges.
And it's
growth.
exciting. You get to meet some new people and build new relationships. And
yes, relationships, my favorite. So yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be good. I think that's really it. I've just been watching TV, like I said, working on my fish tank.
And your fish tank is great. I mean, it is really beautiful. And when you had Dennis and I and Tony over for New Year's Eve, the 3 of us were kind of ogling the fish tank for quite some time.
It's relaxing. It's like so interesting. There's it's a little ecosystem and everything.
It is. Yeah.
So
the fishes have personalities and
but yeah, I guess that's really it. Like, I don't think much has happened in the last 2-3 weeks, other than my dad dying. But I guess that's major. But yeah, that's really it. And we'll see what 2021 holds for all of us.
We will. We hope it holds some relief for a lot
Even
of
the next
people.
2 weeks, it's like, what's going to happen? What's our government doing? Don't know.
Right. Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Some craziness. I think it was today that the new Congress was sworn in.
Yes.
So yeah. Hard to say.
Yeah.
Well, before we go, one of the things that we haven't done a great job of, but that I am a big fan of, is one of our network sponsors, Fansets.
That's right, Fansets.
So, and we don't have any particular copy on Fansets.
Their pins of character.
They do.
That's their tagline, right?
That is their tagline. Yes. Yeah. So they support the Trek Geeks Podcast Network, on which we are one of the many shows in that plethora. I'm a fan. Actually, one of the things that I did not get to finish was my pin display case.
Oh yeah, whatever happened to that? Is this sitting on the floor somewhere?
I mean, it's sitting on a chair right now as I cleaned out the office to fix the fan.
Wait, you didn't finish it? What do you still need to do?
No, it won't close. So, I had all the pin. The backing, the staging or whatever you want to call it, the stuff that you stick the pins into, did not, was too big. So I have to actually unseal it, like unglue it or take it, and then cut it down so that it will close. So so that didn't really work out. That was not, but I did build my casing, the display case for my Lego Razor Crest.
Yes.
So that
looks good.
Which I'm pretty happy with.
Where is that going to go?
On the top shelf of my future office space.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And I think I'm gonna get one of those IKEA lights to like shine over it.
Okay.
you know?
Okay. Cool.
So yeah. But anyway, so yeah, my fan sets pin display case is not yet finished, but one of the projects that did not get done during this vacation time. But yeah, we have a number of them. They have a lot of Star Trek pins, but they also have other great sets like Scooby-Doo and Batman 66 and Alien and all kinds of other things. So we just want to shout them out and say thanks for continuing to support our network, the Trek Geeks Podcast Network. And yeah, Fansets is great. And
don't we have like a code that we're supposed to give out?
We do for 10% off. I don't know what our code is.
I don't know what it is. Well, there we are.
There we are.
We'll come back next time with the code.
Next time, yes. And you know, the funny thing is we've done this is going to be our 17th episode, and we've probably talked a little bit about Fansets, but we've never mentioned them as an official sponsor.
Yeah.
And so this is our first go at it, which is, you know, about how we do things around here at Deep Space Pride. So we'll come up with some more exciting copy and get you that 10% off code so that you can
next time
start. Yeah, next time. So,
you know, one thing, because you're talking about fan sets and collectibles, it did remind me, I did go on a date in the last.
Oh my gosh, you did.
Yes. So that was my second date. So while we're dishing with Deanna still, kind of, that was my second date of 2020. And it was okay. Like, you know, I don't think we felt the spark or, you know, like, oh, we want to take this further. That being said, the reason why when you were talking about fan sets, it kind of triggered that for me is because the one thing that we did really connect on is that he's a total like sci-fi fantasy junkie. And he collects things. Like he has, I did actually drop by. He had just moved into a new apartment, and he was like, "Oh, do you want to just, you know, do you want to see my apartment?" I was like, "Sure." I hope I don't get murdered, but sure, why not? But he literally has like 2 massive display cases of just He-Man figures. I don't know why he's into He-Man specifically. I didn't ask him, but he's had all the figurines. I was like, this is a lot. It was very organized. But it was like a lot for me. I was like, wow, it's so many things, you know, so many tchotchkes, which I'm not really into.
Right.
But he's into like collecting like comic books, and even he had like CDs and all very organized. So in some ways we connected in the sense of, you know, we watch a lot of the same shows. He's a huge like Star Wars fan. There are things like that. I just don't think we kind of connected on some other critical level. It definitely felt like, you know, talking to someone who could be a good friend, but nothing beyond that. So,
well, I mean, still, congratulations for having a second date in 2020, which was a feat considering that most of 2020 was spent in a pandemic.
Right.
So yeah. And here's to a few more dates in 2021.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
There you go.
Yeah. But I guess that does it for this week's episode. We already mentioned it, but for those of you that want to contact us or reach out to us, you can email us at deepspacepride@gmail.com, or you can reach us on Twitter and Instagram at deepspacepride. And yes, if you reach out, we will do our best to respond and talk to you.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah. Thanks everyone. Have a good week.
See you next time.
Bye.
Deep Space Space Pride is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.
Coconut.